the 90s, Playmates Toys made the deepest line of Star Trek action figures in history. My name's Keith, and I'm a collector working towards owning all 284. I've been a Trek fan for almost 35 years, and most people are sick of me talking about it. But somehow I've convinced my old friend Mike to review them with me on Look at My Star Trek Toys! Whoosh! What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Look at My Star Trek Toys. Today we have an exciting episode for you. We are going to be unboxing and reviewing the Playmates 2023 Classic Star Trek Communicator back from TOS. Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Keith. You'll know I tried to get this. I couldn't get my hands on it. I think it might be at Target now, but I've quit Target for a while. It's, I'm not saying we're breaking up. We're just on a break.
You're not mad, you're just disappointed.
So I'm glad that after our heart-to-heart, Playmates finally got back in touch with you, Keith, and they sent you a mea culpa in the mail via review copies, and so we get to finally look at this little toy.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. They sent along the communicator and the ship, so now I have my hands on the 2023 D, which next week we are going to be doing sort of a follow-up to our review of that, now that I have it in my greedy little hands and can look at them side by side. I was quite surprised once I saw it, and next to the original 1992 D, just how different they were. I expected it to be basically the same model, painted a little differently. Well, it's not. It's actually a completely different ship. So we're going to get into some of that and my impressions now that I can see it. And we can point out every single one of those delicious windows. That'll be there for you next week. But this week, from our friends at Playmates, we have the communicator to review. Now, I'll point out right now, yes, Playmates did provide this to us. They have asked for nothing in terms of our opinion. So absolutely nothing in exchange other than a link to the YouTube video. So these will be our opinions, even though it was provided by Playmates. And the first thing I want to point out about the what we got is, I think, part of what they've been doing with these figures and these ships is putting them out in the retro packaging, in the classic 90s packaging styles. Now, those of you who might see these things on eBay or have worked at the stores back in the 90s know that they came in boxes that looked just like this. And so, oops, that's my address. Don't look at that. So you can actually see that even the boxes that they shipped these to the stores in 2023 look very similar to what they did back in the 90s, which I think is a great little detail there.
Property of Cassidy Yates.
Property of Cassidy Yates. She's got her shipping stickers on everything. But I thought that was a really cool little detail there, that they ship them in retro boxes as well as the packaging, even though just the store sees those. So nice little detail. So I think, without any further ado, let us take a look at the box for the 2023 version of the communicator.
Well, I have the old one queued up.
Well, let's look at the old one first. Okay, that's great. Well, because we can now compare and contrast, because once again, just like the D, we have a lot of intentional similarities with the original. So we're going to notice a couple of things right off the bat that will be different from the box I have in my hands, in that there's no collector's serial number, because Playmates did away with that in the new versions of the toys and the ships. But other than that, it is a very similar front of the box. This doesn't, the ages forward and up is moved. So here we go. You'll barely even notice that it is different.
It's kind of crazy here, actually.
But I think obviously that's intentional. Mm-hmm. They're trying to get back to our old-timey feels, our 90s feels. It doesn't smell like the 90s anymore, but it definitely looks like it. And we can see we have all of our usual stuff. We have our working signal lights, flip-up antenna grill. It's got a classic communicator sounds, opening activation sound, hailing high frequency and ship and away team phrases. So we get phrases now. That's
Cool.
that's one thing they added for 2023. Let's take a look at the back of the box, where we can see more of the fun stuff. I don't see any of our hilarious typos in here, but we'll see.
That's the old box there. I got queued up.
There's the old box there. There are 3 lights. There are not 4 lights. It's really, really similar. Of course, we get a Q code here. It does include the 2 AAA batteries. That is something that Playmates has always done. To display it in the stores, but like shipping it with batteries, it's classy. It's a classy move.
Nothing, you think about, I always look at this from a toy perspective as a kid. Nothing sucked more than getting something you're so excited to play with, pop it open, you get all the fiddly bits out, you unearth it, and I need batteries. And back in our day, Keith, remember there were like D batteries and even C batteries?
Oh, yes.
And nobody had those on hand.
I had them on hand for our review of the transporter.
That's true. I think we have to call OSHA after that experience. But
yeah, no. I mean, what kind of a sociopath gives a toy without the batteries included? I mean, that's a big problem. So I say, let's get into it, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, here we go. I have my cut through the tape with a pen. I do not have Mike's. Lack of fear of being cut open.
I risk injury. Keith just draws on it.
Yeah, I do not risk injury for for all of our YouTube fortunes. All right, so here we go. Well, that's upside down. We're gonna go this way with it.
Okay, we're going right into the meat.
Going right into the meat. Well, there's only meat. That's the fun thing about this. There's literally only meat. There's a 1-page instruction.
Throw it in the trash.
Oh, it has a clip for your belt?
Have a belt clip. You better be wearing that next time I see you, brother.
Oh, boy. I'm going back out into the single world, and I think a communicator on my belt will opt me in with a very small amount of people, and maybe possibly opt me out with a much larger group of people. I don't know. We'll see.
I don't see you opting into anything with that, but
oh, that's interesting. So the case is actually glued into the box or attached on the back. That's so it keeps it.
The box is kind of big, so it doesn't rattle around.
Well, so it doesn't rattle around, and so you can access the buttons for the sound. Because honestly, if you closed it, you could ship it in a much smaller box, but they want people to be able to test the lights and sounds.
I think a missed opportunity to have a little bit of maybe marketing or branding or sort of theming on the inside of the box. They could have had like a sort of image or whatnot, but I guess
I suppose. Well, but you've already bought it by the time you're in the box.
Yeah, that's fair.
They don't need to market. They've already sold it. So first impressions right away. It's heavier than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it looks pretty light.
No, it actually it has some heft to it, which I like. I mean, it's not heavy, but it certainly is. It feels substantial. It doesn't feel as like cheap or plasticky as it could be. There's a lot of warning text on the back of that, but I believe that's because of the battery. It's an interference with the radio kind of stuff with it. We can see, as is typical of this generation of Playmates, we have to have a battery, or you have to use a screwdriver to get in there. So I'm going to switch this to on.
Just to give a little context, when we're looking at this, right now we are retailing at $24.99 at Target and online. So just so you know, kind of the universe of $25
gets you this. Yeah. All right. Well, we have was that a weird chip in the right there? Is that part of the mold, or is that?
Did you get a broken one?
No, it looks like there's a little chip on it, but that might be part of the design. I don't have to go back to the box and see if it's there. Hold on. Let's see. Do they show it closed? No, I can't tell. Anyway, let's crack this open and see if it makes the noise. The very first flip phone. Ha ha ha! It did. That's cool.
Is that a sticker?
This is just a sticker, yes. Uh, and so these are lights, but these are the two buttons here. So let's hit some buttons. Let me get it close to the mic and hit some buttons. Great. Got some Shatner. Actual clips from the show. That's kind of cool. Okay, so they got what, four or five different sounds here. Scanning. So that's just. Or it's not. Hold on. So it's not going to be scanning, and there's going to be 1,000 people screaming at me online. I'm going to look it up, make sure I get it right.
No.
So
he's living in fear now, folks. Look what you've done.
Oh my God! Seriously, I've been bullied. It's the control button. Okay. This. Oh, there's the hailing button you want.
Oh, cool. So there's buttons on the side too.
Yes. So you have a. Oh, I see. That's to tune us in, I guess.
So that moves. Can you manipulate that dial there?
No. The dial is static. That's pretty cool. I think the coolest part is the flip phone opening. That it makes the chirping
How sturdy
noise.
does that hinge feel? Does that feel like we could pop that off real easy? Like, would that break if we push it?
I don't think so. It's plastic, obviously, but it doesn't feel delicate.
Okay.
I mean, it's you'll never match the it'll survive nuclear war of the original 90s figures, but this feels perfectly sturdy. The type of plastic, it feels tough. I could throw this, I could drop this without it falling apart. Yeah, that's cool. Mike, what do you think? What are your thoughts?
I mean, I look at it in two different frames, right? So, like, number one, as a actual toy, I feel like this feels more like a toy than most of the other stuff we have. Meaning, like, a kid, like with the phaser, I didn't think once I put that on my shelf I would ever take it off the shelf, but you know what? I have. I've taken it off the shelf a couple times for like little funny little bits or here or there. It feels good in the hand, so I grab it a bunch and I turn the light. I fire it off, and so I can see this actually being played with, right? As kind of a collector's item, probably is on the cheaper side. I mean, I guess you could display it with the flip open and put it in a corner somewhere.
The back of it does not look good in terms of display.
But like, hold on, just like pop the front open and just leave it on the desk. Kind of like if you just had it as a. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of cool. I gotta be honest. I'm feeling like $25 is maybe. It feels a little high.
Yeah. I mean, I get why it's that, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to have the functionality. Yeah, this definitely feels. It's a toy, much more than like a collector's item.
Which is where it's being marketed. So it's not
right. I mean, that's 100%. Like that's what they're saying to do with it, and there are plenty of other versions of this that are more collectors based.
Like I'd love for that dial to be like actually lights. Would be cool.
Yeah, It is interesting that there are only two lights that light up. The yellow light does not light up, and so it's just these two.
And you don't have the original to kind of A/B here, do we?
I don't. I never got the original from 1994 for those counting at home. So I actually don't know. So write in the comments below, like, how does this compare to the 94 version? I'm very curious what people think. And so, yeah, I mean, it would be great if the lifeboat rotated, so that way we could get that and have some light behind it. But I mean, look, as a toy, I don't hate it. I mean, the sounds are satisfying. The flip is very satisfying, and I believe on the original series, it wasn't spring loaded. So in order for them to do it, they had to literally flip it in order to get the thing to open up.
Oh, that's funny.
And so this is an is an upgrade on what they used on the series itself. So are you going to say something?
No.
Oh, all right. Well, yeah, all right. So like as a toy, yeah, I think you're right. I feel like this should be more like 15 than 25.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the issue becomes, it's not to get, I don't want to devolve into the same kind of esoteric conversation we keep having, but definitely as a toy, I give it a kind of a tentative thumbs up. But then again, like, what kids are going to buy this toy, right? It's clearly the audience is us, and I want it metal. I want it more kind of like, I want it to be a piece. You know what I mean?
Well, and I think that is the problem with all the original series stuff, right? Because kids aren't watching it, right? Kids are barely watching the 90s stuff, right? Because the 90s stuff is like what the 60s was for us as kids. It felt so in the past. It was like inconceivably old. Yeah. When I was watching Next Gen, like original series was inconceivably old when I was watching Next Gen in the 80s. And so like, I don't know how many like 12-year-olds are really that into the original series. I mean, there were 12-year-olds in the 90s, but those same 12-year-olds now are watching Next Gen.
Yeah, I'm curious to see coming up because, it's funny. So finally, kind of Playmates marketing is revving up again. I saw an Instagram go out about this. I saw an Instagram go out about the ship. We got the ship and this thanks to Playmates, and I had went out and was able to find one at a Target, sort of, kind of. And yet, that's sort of all they have right now. And moving towards holiday, Netflix just greenlit finally the season 2 of Prodigy. So you'd think maybe we'd see those figures get another push, but I haven't really seen a lot. It's an interesting time, so we're going to keep up on the channel and see where we're going. But
yeah, for sure.
At least they're willing to talk now or respond to an email. Or something.
Yeah, I feel like there's a pivot coming. I think they probably found the same thing what I was just describing, that kids aren't really into these figures in this generation, but us fans sure as hell are. So I bet there's going to be a pivot in that direction.
And we've gotten some comments from viewers who know people who work at Playmates or have some tentative inside knowledge who have hinted at some things to come. So nothing's confirmed yet, but we'll keep you posted when and if we hear anything.
Yeah. All right. So I feel like I feel like this about like I did the phaser. Like it's I like it. I appreciate having it. I think stored like this, it will look pretty good on the shelf. And so like I give it a thumbs up, but I'm not sure. Honestly, I feel a little too young for this toy. And I'm 43 years old, right? Yeah. The original series stuff, like, while I love and respect its importance and how groundbreaking it was and how much it defined an entire genre and birthed this entire universe that I've been obsessed with my entire life, but it's not really my home base. Right. And so the people to whom this is their home base are 20, 30 years older than I am. And I don't know how many toys they're buying anymore. Yeah. So anyway, that's just my general thought on that. But yeah, I mean, I like it. If this is your home base, yeah, absolutely go get one. For sure. I think it's fun. I'm gonna flip it. You know what? Here's what's gonna tell. In a couple of episodes, ask me how many times have I wandered around the house flipping this open and annoying the cat with it. And if it's over 10, then maybe the toy's better than we think.
Hey, what year did this come out?
The original one?
Yeah.
1994, I believe.
Okay, so new in box sealed on eBay for that one, $70.
Yeah, so it's a lot cheaper.
$50 open. So yeah, you can get a Lucy for $30.
Okay, so yeah, get the new one. Why not? So
let me see yours again. Sorry, put yours back up on there. I got a picture here.
Okay, great.
Let me pull to the desktop. Sorry, we're doing it live.
We always do it live. All right.
Yeah, that's pretty faithful.
I mean, it's basically
Looks like
pretty.
the decal's a little different. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that at least on that picture, they had a little bit more color on the decal, and this is just a flat grayscale. I'd need to go back and watch the show again to see exactly which one is more screen accurate.
Right.
Yeah, I mean there are some subtle differences, which is also what I found about the Enterprise, is that it is a new mold. It is not the same mold.
Right.
Which is in some ways surprising, but I guess it was cheaper to rebuild it than to just use it again, because you can see at the bottom here, this goes flat where that has a little bit of a notch on the original series one there.
Keith, look at the production I'm giving you.
Oh boy. Just there we are, Shatnering.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to see from that angle, but it'll do in a pinch. Yeah.
I mean, it certainly looks pretty damn close. You mean you'd have to get pretty far in the weeds to start picking it apart. But that's what we do here on the show. We go into the weeds.
All right, so we're giving it a stubby thumb. I'll give it a stubby one thumb. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I give it.
You know what, Keith? I'm giving it the part of the thumb that you remove when you do bad magic.
A loose thumb. All right, great. Yes, a stubby nub. Mike, do you want to know who is never a loose or stubby thumb to us? They always get the full thumbs up.
Hey, folks, you can join our Patreon. On our Patreon, you're helping support the show because YouTube doesn't make any money. And you can also get some cool stuff, like me watching every episode of Deep Space Nine in order as Keith and I review it on the channel, as well as Ask Me Anythings, family picnics, and all kinds of good stuff. Bonus unboxings, playing games, things that are fun, but mostly our respect and our appreciation.
How could you turn that down?
And you get a dramatic reading of the names of the patrons, who are today Brian Kimball Beersock, Casey Clark, Jason Moe, Joshua Cronin, Andrew Hayes, Jorge Navoa, and the Mysterious Dwarfs, Big Ol' Boot Shivs, Charles Babbage, Richard Coleman, Harry Pothead, Peter Benke, CRM Productions, Nikolai Ivanovich, Lobachevsky, Delusions at Noon, Steve Brown, YouTube viewer, James Hubbard, Lisa Kislova, JD Makes, Colin Dagan, Chris Mitchell, CRM, Pat, and Joshua Cronin. They're people who send us stuff in the mail, just like you can reach out to us. Look at my Star Trek Toys at gmail.com or KandMentertainment@gmail.com. Keith, we thank all of the patrons. You can join the team at patreon.com/KandM.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm getting a call. Mike, take us away.
Folks, until we see you next week, remember, this is Mike Indeglio, that's Keith Varney, and this has Varney, and this has been this has been
Let me tune you in again here. Hold on.
Varney?
Look at my Star Trek toy!